Yes, it worked. Hi, guys. How's it going? How's everyone doing? Tyrant Slayer Studios. Let's go over his stuff. This one's a particularly fun one. One that we're going to watch is called New London CTPD Violates the FOIA Act. Freedom of Information Act. You can just say FOIA. State and Federal Section 1-210, formerly Section 1-19, Connecticut statutes. Premiered July 13th, 2021 by Tyrant Slayer Studios, in case anyone was wondering.
Good sign told not to walk.
Tyrant Slayer. He doesn't even spell his own name right. With Rogue Nation. Rogue Nation's also an idiot. I say that with absolute confidence. The guy has never impressed me. Beep, beep, beep. Bunch of walking. Oh my goodness. Now, to be fair, I don't mind having all of the context left in, because then I don't have to be like, what did they remove? But this, don't really understand why this is in the video.
In.
Yes, it does say in. Good job.
Mistaken.
Oh, look, there's a big old sign that says this area is closed to the public. Huh. What do you think they'll do? And what do you think will happen?
It's not every day you see a payphone.
He's not wrong.
How may I help you?
Yes, I was wondering if I could request some records.
Now notice he's requesting records. That will be important in a bit.
Yes, I was wondering if I could request some.
Well, what do you want to request?
I want to request a police report, and I want to request body cam footage if the New London police have body cam footage.
By the way, you can do this online. There's no reason to actually do this in person. There's a reason he's doing it in person. But if he's actually requesting these things, you can just send an email. A lot of departments will have a form online. And even if they don't, literally just send, like I've requested a lot of records in my day doing all this. You can just email the police department and say, hey, per a FOIA request, I'm requesting these specific things. Here's all the information I have. And they will ask clarifying questions, or they'll send it to the right department. They'll work with you. This is completely unnecessary. They've slid him a form. How kind of them.
Okay, can I use an email address instead of a phone number? Okay.
Would we be able to inspect records right now if we had a specific case we were looking to just look into?
That's where it gets interesting. Just remember, they came here to request records. Now they're saying we want to inspect records. We're building something, don't worry.
Would we be able to inspect records here right now? Do you guys have a place for people to inspect records?
They don't actually have to. But he thinks they do. Just wait.
1, 2, 3.
Yes, we're just doing a records request. I thought I heard a police radio, so I came out to check out what was going on. Atta girl.
They're just not allowing me to inspect records right
Correct.
now, which is a violation of the law.
Wrong! He's saying it's a violation of the law for them to not allow him to inspect records. That is not true. Fun fact. We'll get there.
But
Because
we're putting a request in writing, which is fine enough, but we should be able to go in and inspect records,
Technically, no.
And it's just, I find it
That's
strange.
state law, but
Yeah, right. That's what I was just
Technically,
explaining
no.
to her. So I find it odd that the police No, we didn't pry so far. Is there like a department policy here that's pertinent to COVID or this situation, why the lobby isn't accessible to the public right now and why it can't be accommodated to inspect records in compliance with the law?
Even if the lobby was open, you can't just walk into the records department. If you want to review any
Well,
type
I
of
wouldn't.
record,
Right? No.
can I explain?
This is where it gets
If
good.
you want to review any type of record, here's the form. It's an FOI form. You
Sure.
can allow.
Sure.
You can just, would you like to take a copy?
Well, sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. I know how this works. I do these a lot.
Yeah, you can't just walk into the records
But I can
department.
absolutely
There's
inspect
information
records.
in there,
No, I'm not. I didn't say walk into the records department. I'm saying if I wanted to look at a specific case and request the records, I could speak to the custodian, provide her a case number. She can go ahead and pull the police report, find out if there's body cam footage. Check.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never heard of this actually being a thing at a police station. And obviously, police stations all over the country are different and have slightly different rules depending on the county, the municipality, the state, etc. But I've never heard of being able to just walk into an area and being like, I'd like to look at that case, please. Just open it up for me. Fantastic. Never heard of it. Not once. Not unless it was already publicly released. And if it's already publicly released, it's usually available online or somewhere. We'll get to that, though.
I can request that body cam footage be put on a DVD or a thumb drive, perhaps, one way or another. I can get a copy of all of that stuff.
Start with that form there.
I could start with that, yes. There should be a place where, publicly accessible for me to be able to do that. And I'm just perplexed as to why.
It's actually state law, yeah.
Yeah,
So
to be in
if we-
compliance with the law, you guys would have to allow me to come inside or at least have an area to inspect those records. Unless, of course, you want me here in this little bubble, this little confined area. I don't see the purpose of locking down the lobby. That the health concern is no longer what it was. The governor has, dialed back on all of these restrictions.
Those
So I'm just
rules are
asking for some
much higher than they.
explanations.
The Freedom of Information request form.
Yeah.
That's how you started.
Yeah, I know, but
There's two aspects, if I may, Tim. There's two aspects. That right there is to get records.
Right.
But by state law, to inspect records, I'm allowed to come in any agency, ask for the record. If there's nothing that needs redacted on that record, then the record should be available immediately for me to inspect, right?
Well, then if it needs to be redacted, it's not going to be made immediately available to you. What are you talking about? That's just nonsense. Or it needs to be redacted before it's released to the public. Well, then I get to see it immediately. No, you get to see it after it's been redacted, stupid. If it's a public record that's made available to the public already, great.
to be in compliance with the law,
That's state law.
Right.
Yes.
Do you know what statute that is? What title that is?
No, it's under the Open Records Act.
Yeah,
FOIA
Freedom of
Act.
Information Act.
The Freedom of Information Act says you can just walk into any police department and access any document.
Almost anywhere
No.
across the country. I do this all over the
No,
country.
it does not.
Not just police departments. We can inspect
City
records
Hall.
at City Hall. We can
That,
find out
yes.
how much
As
money
long
this
as
city
it's- as
has.
long
We
as
can.
it's public
Okay.
information.
Is there any certain case you're looking
Yeah, so most of these cases are not public information, meaning they haven't been released to the public yet. They haven't been redacted and whatever. We're going to talk about the law. Connecticut General Statutes, Title I, Provision of General Application, Chapter 14, Freedom of Information Act, Section 1-210, formerly Section 1-19, Access to Public Records, Exempt Records. So, here's the part that he thinks is relevant. Where's my mouse? Except as otherwise provided by any federal law or state statute, all records maintained or kept on file by any public agency, whether or not such records are required by any law or by any rule or regulation, shall be public records. And every person shall have the right to, this is the important bit, inspect such records promptly during regular office or business hours. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say that 210 says that they can inspect such records promptly during regular office or business hours regarding all records maintained or kept on file by any public agency. So they say, well, any record kept on file by the public agency, to include case law, falls under this, except there is just an incredible amount of exemptions here, and in other parts of the law, which this states are exempt and can be exempt. But regardless, it does say you can inspect such records promptly during regular office or business hours. Or you can copy such records in accordance with subsection G of section 1-212. Man, there's so much here, isn't there? Gosh, there's so much here about what isn't allowed or what doesn't have to be provided. Wow, I bet they haven't read all of that. Anyway, or receive a copy of such records in accordance with section 1-212. You can either inspect such records promptly during regular office or business hours, or copy such records in accordance with subsection G of section 212, or receive a copy of such records in accordance with section 212. First thing, the or. The or is very important because it makes it a disjunctive list, meaning only one of those things has to be met. Disjunctive list. Look it up, Tyrant Slayer Studios. Or, meaning one of those. Not and, which is an injunctive list. Or, disjunctive list. Very important, which means the public agency has to allow you to inspect records, or copy records, or give you records that you have requested, or not all three, one of those. An agency has to be able to do one of those. And there are many, many, many exemptions. Many exemptions. So many. But there's more to this, right? There's so much more. What happens if an agency can't provide those records or doesn't have a place where you can just walk in? Well, this statute covers that as well. Let me find it. Each such agency shall keep and maintain all public records in its custody at its regular office or place of business in an accessible place, and if there is no such office or place of business. Oh, and if there is no such office or place of business, which this police department does not have and did not have at any point, the public records pertaining to such agency shall be kept in the office of the clerk of the political subdivision in which such public agency is located, or of the Secretary of the State, as the case may be. So if you can't get to the records of the police station, if they're like, no, we can't let you just walk in and do that, then they will be available with the clerk at the county courthouse or wherever that clerk's office would be. That's where you find them. It's not illegal for them to not allow you to do it. It's just that if they don't allow you to do it, they will be available at the clerk. That's it. That's how that works. They only have to have one of those things. And if one of those things isn't, you can inspect the records on the property, then you're going to have to go to the clerk. It's that simple. That's what he's saying is federal law violation. What is he saying is happening? How did he try to call this out? He says violates the FOIA state and federal laws. No, literally is in alignment exactly with the laws. That's what they thought was wrong about the law. Now they don't get arrested. They just continue to convince people of things that aren't true. But like, that was a really simple one. All you had to do was actually read the law. It's that simple. That simple.